Have you ever felt invisible in your own family? I'm Emma Hayes, 27, from Denver, Colorado. Growing up, my parents only had eyes for my older sister, Claire, their perfect daughter, the one destined for greatness. Claire was the piano prodigy, the straight A student, the one they bragged about at every holiday party. Me? I was the afterthought, the kid who loved sketching business ideas in her notebook, but got told, Emma, stop dreaming. You're not Claire. I wasn't jealous of Claire. She was sweet, even if clueless about the favoritism. But my parents' dismissal crushed me. When I pitched my idea for a sustainable fashion brand at 16, Dad laughed. Business? Leave that to Claire. She's going to Yale. Mom added, focus on something realistic, Emma. Their words lit a fire in me, not to hate them, but to prove I could build something bigger than their expectations. This is my story of turning neglect into an empire. It's got drama, a sneaky prank, and a moment that'll make you cheer. Ready to see how I did it? Smash that like button, subscribe, and let's dive in. Our Denver home was a modern two-story with big windows and a view of the Rockies. It should have been a warm place, but for me, it felt like a stage where Claire was the star and I was backstage crew. Claire, 20, was everything my parents dreamed of. Tall, with long blonde hair and a smile that charmed everyone. She'd been playing piano since she was 5, winning national competitions, and her Yale acceptance letter hung framed in the living room. My parents, both corporate lawyers, saw her as their legacy. Mom would say, Claire's our pride and joy. She'll change the world. Dad kept a scrapbook of her recital programs and newspaper clippings. I was the opposite. At 12, I started sketching business ideas, apps, clothing lines, anything that sparked my imagination. I'd stay up late, filling notebooks with plans for a sustainable fashion brand, using recycled fabrics to create trendy, eco-friendly clothes. When I showed Dad my sketches, he'd pat my head. Cute, Emma, but Claire's practicing for Carnegie Hall. That's real talent. Mom was blunter. Business is risky. You're not cut out for it. The favoritism wasn't subtle. When I got an A- in math, Mom sighed. Claire never got below an A+. When I joined the entrepreneurship club at school, Dad said, why not try music like your sister? At 15, I entered a local startup pitch contest, presenting a plan for Green Thread, a sustainable clothing line. I won second place and a $1,000 grant. I was over the moon, clutching my certificate, but my parents didn't come. They were at Claire's piano recital in Boulder. That night, I overheard them on the phone. Emma's doing her little projects, but Claire's our real star. The worst moment came at 16. I'd been accepted to a summer entrepreneurship program at the University of Colorado with a partial scholarship. I'd also launched a small Etsy shop selling handmade eco-friendly scarves, earning $500 in a month. I thought my parents would finally notice. At dinner, I shared my news, hands trembling. Dad cut me off. Emma, stop dreaming. You're not Claire. She's at Yale studying economics. Get a law degree like us. Mom nodded. We can't afford to support your hobbies. Claire's our priority. My heart sank. They'd paid for Claire's private lessons and dorm, but wouldn't help me? I stood, voice shaking. I'll do it myself. I stormed to my room, slamming the door. That night, I scrolled Reddit's R raised by narcissists, reading stories of kids ignored for siblings. One post hit hard. Their doubt is your fuel. Build something they can't ignore. I grabbed my notebook, whispering, just wait. I'll build an empire. Claire's Yale send off party sealed my resolve. My parents threw a backyard bash with a Go Bulldogs banner and a string quartet. Neighbors toasted Claire's future. I was there, but no one asked about my Etsy shop or program. Standing by the dessert table, I decided I'd create a legacy so big they'd have to see me. But it wasn't easy. At 17, I worked part-time at a coffee shop, Brewed Bliss, to fund my projects. I'd sketch during breaks, designing jackets made from recycled denim. My Etsy shop grew, but every sale felt like a secret victory my parents didn't care about. Claire came home for Christmas, and the house revolved around her. She was kind, asking about my sketches, but oblivious to the favoritism. Once, she said, "Emma, your ideas are cool. Why don't Mom and Dad get it?" I shrugged, hiding my hurt. My breaking point came at 18. I'd saved $3,000 from Brewed Bliss and Etsy to buy a sewing machine and fabric. I'd also been offered a spot in a Denver startup incubator for young entrepreneurs. At a family dinner, I announced my plan. I'm launching Green Thread as a real business. Dad laughed. "Emma, you'll crash and burn. Claire's interning at Goldman Sachs. That's success." Mom added, "We won't bail you out when you fail." I felt like I'd been punched. That night, I packed a bag, applied for student loans, and moved into a shared apartment near the university. I was done begging for their approval. Reddit became my lifeline. Posts on r/entrepreneur gave me tips on bootstrapping a business. One comment stuck. "Your family's doubt is just noise. Build your empire." I taped it to my mirror, vowing to make Green Thread a name they couldn't ignore. At 18, I moved into a tiny Denver apartment with two roommates, both broke college students like me. By day, I studied business at the University of Colorado, soaking up classes on marketing and supply chains. By night, I sewed, marketed Green Thread on Instagram, and served coffee at Brewed Bliss to pay rent. My apartment was a mess of fabric scraps, sketchbooks, and instant noodle packets. Every stitch, every post was a step toward my empire. My parents barely called. When they did, it was about Claire. "She's killing it at Yale." I'd grit my teeth, say, "That's awesome," and hide my progress. Green Thread was growing. My Etsy shop hit 1,000 sales, and my Instagram at Green Threadwear reached 10,000 followers. I posted videos of my process, sourcing recycled denim, sewing jackets with funky patches, and customers loved the eco-friendly vibe. But the grind was brutal. My sewing machine broke twice, shipping costs ate my profits, and I pulled all-nighters to meet orders. At 20, a breakthrough came. A Denver startup incubator, Ignite Labs, invited me to pitch Green Thread for funding and mentorship. It was a chance to scale into a real brand. I spent weeks preparing, designing a pitch deck with sleek mock-ups of stores and a subscription model for eco-friendly clothes. To save money, I biked to the pitch, my laptop strapped to my back. The pitch room was intimidating. Venture capitalists in suits, sipping overpriced coffee. I wore a Green Thread jacket I'd sewn myself, feeling like an underdog. "Green Thread isn't just fashion," I said, voice steady. "It's a movement, sustainable, inclusive, built from my bedroom because I was told I'd fail." I showed sales data, customer reviews, and my vision. In 5 years, Green Thread will be the go-to for eco-conscious Gen Z. The judges clapped, and Ignite Labs offered $75,000 and a mentor. I left shaking, tears in my eyes. With the funding, I quit Brewed Bliss and rented a small studio for Green Thread. I hired two part-time seamstresses and a social media intern, all friends from college. We launched a website, greenthreadwear.com, and expanded into hoodies and dresses. My Instagram hit 50,000 followers, and I got emails from customers. Your clothes make me feel good about my choices. But doubt lingered. Every milestone felt fragile, like my parents' words, "You're not Claire," could undo it. For a laugh, I set a trap for my parents. Claire followed my Instagram, so I knew they'd see my posts through her. I shared a fake photo of a messy studio captioned, "Rough week. Maybe business isn't for me." Mom called within hours. "Emma, we warned you. Come home." I smirked, planning to reveal my success later. Claire texted suspicious. You're up to something, aren't you?" I sent a winking emoji. The real test came at 26. Ignite Labs announced a national startup summit in San Francisco, where I'd pitch Green Thread to investors and retail giants like Nordstrom. A win could mean millions in funding and a store deal. But the pressure was crushing. Competitors had Ivy League degrees and big budgets. My parents' voices echoed, "You'll crash and burn." I sent my family invites to the summit with a cryptic note, "Join me in San Francisco, August 20th." I wanted them to walk in blind and see their failure shine. I threw myself into prep. My team designed a new collection, recycled denim jumpsuits, organic cotton tees, and built a pitch deck with sales projections. We practiced until 2 a.m., perfecting every slide. I invested my savings in a booth display, complete with mannequins and a touchscreen showing our impact. 10 tons of fabric saved from landfills. I wasn't just selling clothes, I was building an empire. But challenges piled up. A supplier delayed our fabric, forcing us to scramble. I got sick from stress, running on energy drinks. One night, I found a Reddit post on r/entrepreneur. How do you silence doubters? A reply hit me. Don't silence them. Outshine them. I taped it to my laptop, pushing forward. My team rallied, and we nailed the collection. I stood in our studio, surrounded by jumpsuits, whispering, "This is it, Emma." The San Francisco Startup Summit was a high-tech spectacle. Glass towers, VR demos, and investors in tailored suits. Greenthread's booth was vibrant, with mannequins in our jumpsuits and a screen showing our landfill impact. I wore a Greenthread blazer, my hair in a sleek ponytail, nerves on edge. My team, now 5 strong, hustled beside me, handing out eco-friendly tote bags. My parents and Claire arrived, looking out of place among the tech crowd. Mom clutched her purse, Dad frowned at the drones, and Claire scanned the booths, confused. They hadn't connected my invite to this. I took a deep breath and stepped to the main stage for my pitch, the crowd swelling to thousands. "Hey everyone," I said, voice steady despite my racing heart. "I'm Emma Hayes, and Green Thread is my empire. It started in my bedroom, born from being ignored for my sister. Today, we've saved 10 tons of fabric, dressed 50,000 customers, and built a movement for sustainable fashion." I clicked to a video, our studio buzzing, customers wearing our clothes, landfills shrinking. The crowd leaned in. I shared stats, $500,000 in revenue, 200,000 Instagram followers, and my vision, Green Thread will open stores nationwide, proving eco-fashion is the future. Then I got personal. My parents said I'd never match my sister, but this empire is my proof, not to them, but to myself. I glanced at my family. Mom's eyes were wet, Dad's jaw tight, Claire's hand over her mouth. The video ended with a customer's quote, Emma's clothes changed how I see fashion. She's a game changer. The room erupted in applause. The judges awarded Green Thread the summit's top prize, $5 million in funding and a Nordstrom partnership. Cameras flashed as I accepted the award, tears streaming. Offstage, my family approached, faces raw. Mom hugged me, sobbing. Emma, we were so wrong. We didn't see your fire. Dad, voice hoarse, said, we thought we were guiding you, but you're a leader. I'm sorry. Claire pulled me aside, holding a small sketchbook. I kept your first green thread designs from when you were 15, she said, eyes misty. You were always a star, Em. I just didn't say it. I laughed, hugging her, my prank forgotten. The twist hit me later. Their favoritism wasn't cruelty. They feared I'd struggle, blinded by their own definition of success. But it fueled me to build an empire, not just of clothes, but of belief. Green Thread wasn't just a brand. It was proof I was enough. Today, Green Thread has stores in 10 cities with $10 million in revenue and 1 million Instagram followers. My parents volunteer at our Denver store, and Claire's my CFO, crunching numbers like a pro. But the real victory? Knowing I built an empire from doubt, proving I'm enough. If you've ever been ignored or underestimated, hear this. Your dreams are your empire. Create, fight, shine. Show the world who you are. You're not second best. You're unstoppable. Thanks for joining my journey. If this story moved you, smash that like button and subscribe. Comment, who ignored your dreams and how'd you prove them wrong? I'm reading everyone. Share this with someone chasing a dream and hit that bell for more. Let's keep building empires.